a group joining us in a few days. There'll be
More
20,
people coming.
25 more
Wow,
people, including our youngest son and his wife and their 5 children.
unbelievable.
So,
And do you have like you have brought so many people? Do you have like a special story with a person? What happened here
do I have what?
like you brought so many people here? There must have been so many stories about what happened to them here.
Oh my gosh,
You
yes.
have like one special story you want to tell to people?
There's so many.
If you feel like it.
Sure. A couple that come to mind right away are there was a man here one time. This was way back before the war, and he was not in my group, but I'd see him all the time at Mass. And he was a tall Texan with the Texas 10-gallon hat, and he was very outspoken and very negative. And I just couldn't get over it because we keep bumping into them at Mass or after Mass, and he didn't have anything good to say about Medjugorje or anything. So now we're on the way home, and we're in Zagreb, and our plane was delayed. And so everybody in the airport was coming back from Medjugorje. And so we're all sitting on the floor praying the rosary, singing songs, anything we could do to pass the time. And he's just grumbling and grumbling. Well, all of a sudden the apparition time came, and he looked out the window in Zagreb airport, and he saw the miracle of the sun. And he dropped down to his knees and put his arms up and was praising God and was crying and was apologizing to Our Lady and everything. It was just the most amazing, and he was so meek and mild after that. And it was just amazing.
This is Medjugorje, you know?
Yeah. Another time,
Yeah.
in the early days, the apparitions used to take place in a room in the rectory. And we were outside, and we were listening to what was going on in the room, and they would let just a few people in, and this man went in with his little boy. This little boy was maybe 4 years old, and he had him up on his shoulders. And after they got in there, the little boy started crying, and he was pitching a fit. He didn't want to be in there. He wanted out and all that. And his father kept trying to calm him down. And then all of a sudden, just like a light switch, he stopped crying. And total silence. And when they came out, the father said to him, well, I'm so glad that you quieted down. And he said, well, that pretty lady was singing to me. And he described Our Lady to a T. 4 years old.
Wow.
That was just
Beautiful. No? This is Medjugorje.
Oh, it is Medjugorje. I mean, things happen. I think the biggest thing, when you ask about people, over the years, the effect that we've seen that Medjugorje has had on people is just, it's beyond description, because it's different for everybody, you know. And I always tell people, try not to have any expectations. Just open your heart and be open to whatever Our Lady has for you, because she definitely has something for you. Just be open. And the stories that people will tell me even months later, years later. And what's really bad, though, is when you travel with so many people, you can't possibly remember them all. And I will get a phone call every so often, and it just happened last week. Someone called and she said, you remember me, I went with you in 1991. And I was, oh yes, how are you?
Sure.
Yeah, right. And they tell me, you know, how their life was changed, and even hardships, you know, they were able to handle. And I can even say that about my daughter. My heart is absolutely broken. And I know that a part of me will never be the same. But I also know, were it not for Medjugorje, I would not be sitting here having this conversation with you. Because I couldn't even, when she first died, I couldn't even mention her name without falling apart. But I know that I have such confidence in where she is because of Our Lady and because of Medjugorje and because the faith that I've received here, that's what makes it possible to keep going. And I would just encourage anybody who even thinks that they might like to come, because Our Lady calls people here. And if you even have the slightest inclination, she's probably calling you. And just come and be open, and you'd just be amazed. I mean, I don't like to fly. I have a prayer that I say. I made it up when I first started coming here. And when I'm okay unless it gets turbulent. And if there's turbulence, I always say, God, I know I'm in your hands. Just don't drop me. And so that's,
It works,
right.
It works.
But, to be able to make that many trips with this nervousness about flying and doing different things. I mean, we crossed over a bridge, and after we got to the other side, the bridge blew up. This was during the war. And, but it was like nothing deterred us because it was Our Lady. She was behind it and pushing us and helping us. If it had been on our own, never would have happened. Never would have happened. So,
wow. Thank you.
You're very
For this
welcome.
beautiful interview.
Well, I'm very honored that you asked. Thank you.